Hello and welcome to the Guide to Prototyping course. My name is Matthew Alexander, the lead instructor for this course.
I really don't want to say this, but I have to now.
Hi everyone, I'm Matthew, and in this video I want to explore the types of feedback that students can give for your courses on Udemy. So there are three main types of student feedback that they can leave. The first one are ratings, which is the star ratings for your courses, which arguably is one of the most important types of student feedback that you can get, because this is what you first see when you're browsing through a number of courses on Udemy and in marketing promotional materials as well. The next one is reviews, and this is where the student has a text box and they're free to put whatever text they want into that box. It can be quite useful, it can be encouraging, but unfortunately you also do get some quite unhelpful feedback and not necessarily nice feedback to be hearing as well. The third type of feedback you can get is something called attribute level feedback, and this gives a much more structured set of feedback for an instructor to actually know what they're doing well, what they're doing badly. It's probably a really useful bit of data to actually improve your courses. All of these types of feedback can be provided from any student, but what you typically find is you get far more ratings than the other two, and you get far more reviews than attribute level data. Furthermore, ratings can help you acquire the badge which is called highest rated, and this is dependent on having the highest rated course within a particular category and an average minimum rating of 4.5 for your course, and also you have at least 10 ratings for that course. This is probably quite a good marketing boost. It probably has some impact on people enrolling within your course. The rating itself is probably a blend of the actual ratings that students give themselves from the last 90 days, but also the amount the student consumed of that course before they left the rating, and also the recency of the rating that they gave. So those three things combined will actually dictate what your rating is. It's a little bit blurry as to what the actual calculation is, but that is how it's calculated. So of the courses that I have on Udemy, I have 335 reviews and 2,727 enrollments, which means that 12% of my students, or 12% of the enrollments, actually leave feedback, which is unfortunately not as high as perhaps you'd like. Certainly when you're just starting out on a course, you want to try and get a bit of traction, so you want to get as much as you can, but it is quite slow in the beginning months of a new course. To get an idea of whether this figure is roughly right, I can have a look at the 4 courses individually to see whether they're all averaging around the 12%. So statics is around 14%, thermodynamics is around 11%, prototyping 15%, and then Onshape course is 17%. So the average is probably a little bit higher for courses themselves than the 12%, but there's a lot more students enrolled in the statics and thermodynamics course, which is altering my average, if you like. But 12% is probably a reasonable number to assume for now. So unfortunately, you can receive some bad feedback, but there are potentially a few ways to tackle this and to try and make sure that this isn't too damaging. The first one you can do is that Udemy will remove some feedback and ratings if it's not a true rating or review. So a link is in the description which tells you what they will and what they won't remove. Examples of what they will remove are things like this. So imagine that someone left a review on my course and they said, "You were asking me for a review too early," which is something I'll come on to in a minute. They'll remove a comment like that. You might also get a student who leaves the feedback on one of my courses and say the instructor is incredibly ugly, and regardless of whether it's true or not, they will remove that sort of comment. Another way in which you could tackle bad reviews or ratings is you could message the student directly. Below the rating they give you, you can actually reply to them and you could say, in a genuine and nice way, "Could you please let me know why you gave a poor rating for my course? I'm interested in learning about how I can improve my course for the future." That's something that would probably go down really well from a student reviewing your course to see. They might review the bad feedback and see, oh, the instructor's actually interested in seeing what's wrong and they want to improve. It might be better than having no response at all. You might not actually get a response from the person who left bad feedback, but it might be worth trying. I think I have had 1 or 2 students alter their rating and improve it, when I've done this technique. It's not always foolproof, but it might be worth a try. The last thing you might want to consider is to, unfortunately, just let it go. You might have a lot of other good feedback which you can fall upon, and you get 1 or 2 pieces of bad feedback. It happens. To try and make you feel a little bit more comfortable, you may have come onto this video because you received bad feedback. I just want to give you some examples of what I received to make you realize that everyone gets it. I just looked past it and moved on. So the first one is this one, and I'm hiding all these names. And this was where someone couldn't find the volume control on their PC, basically. There are probably about 3 different ways in which you could change the volume. I would just change the volume personally. I've had about 2,000, 2,500 students enrolled. None of them are complaining about the volume, just one person. So it's a really isolated case. Ignore it. The next one is where somebody couldn't open the PDFs from one of my courses, and I checked on Android, I checked on iOS, I checked on PC, and I checked on Mac. They worked on every single one of them. I couldn't find out why they couldn't open it. Suggest that they go to Udemy support, but the damage was kind of done. They left bad feedback. That's it. Look past it. Very small percentage of people even comment. Maybe 2 people had said this before. And the last example I'll give is that I've had people say that this course is very basic on a course which is designed to be looking at the introduction to mechanical engineering. So it's designed and stated that it's at an introduction, basic level, and we were penalised for doing exactly what we said we'd do. You get this type of feedback, it's just got to be ignored, just move on. One of the ways in which I try to find comfort in if I receive bad feedback is to have a look at the breakdown of ratings. You can have a look at these on every course at the bottom of the page, and you get 5 stars, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you get the percentage of people who have left one of those ratings. So here are my courses, and what you can see is that the 5-star rating is typically given by around 50% of people who enroll in my courses, and then the 4 stars are around the mid-30s. This is, I think, pretty much a healthy split between all the ratings, and I think it's a mark of probably a good course. It probably means that your average is in the 4.5-ish stars. My courses aren't the most successful on Udemy, but if you compare this to a very successful instructor with a lot of students enrolled in a course, so for example Jose Portilla's Zero to Hero Python Bootcamp, where he's got millions of students on this course, and you can see his rating breakdown is really good. So he's got 54% on the 5-star rating, and then 37% on the 4-star rating, which is very similar to what I just said, which is for my courses. He's got a great overall rating too. I think that we can say that if you got this rough split of 4 and 5-star ratings, then I think you can say I don't need to worry about the negative feedback so much. Lastly, I probably just mentioned that some of our 1-star reviews have been given by people who've only completed about 2% of our course. So really it's an unfounded rating. They haven't really been able to rate the whole course. They've rated the first video or so. It's not a true reflection. It might be a good idea perhaps to mention in your second video perhaps that Udemy will ask you for feedback within the first 2 or 3 videos. And you might want to say to them, perhaps try a little bit more of the course, consume a little bit more of the course, 30-50% of the course at least, before you leave feedback, to really give a true reflection of what you think of the course. And you can leave the feedback by clicking on these buttons and show a visual demonstration on screen of how you would do that, just so that they know how to make it as easy for them as possible. I hope some of those things prompted you to think about how you can deal with the feedback that you receive, and maybe give you a bit of comfort if you're receiving some bad feedback. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.